What's the forecast looking for you this year?
At the end of 26, looking back over this year, I mean, our goal is to double in size in terms of production. We know that we have a busy events calendar filled with really like community engagement types of events, things that are very thoughtfully produced and curated that bring people who have a lot of synergy, and we expect will experience a lot of synergy with one another together. So that when we look back, one of the things that's most rewarding is to see those connections that we made and to hear from people the difference that maybe an introduction or an opportunity made to them. And part of why that's important to me is that those are the things that moved me along in my career. There were people, you know, who took me under their wing, sometimes for a season, sometimes for many years, and who still have me under their wings. And if they hadn't invited me into a room, sometimes before I was really ready or really qualified to be in that room, I wouldn't be able to be there inviting other people into those rooms today.
So when you look back, this is a year of really thinking about those intentional, curated opportunities to accelerate your business, but also accelerate the connections and opportunities that when you bring people together. I love that.
To accelerate impact.
Impact, right? We're in a couple different groups that is one of the core mission and focus areas and focus words. And I know you're starting a few new organizations that are related, aligned with some of your personal passion and interests, which is really exciting in terms of the arts, which is exciting.
That is really, really exciting. So, you know, I come from an arts background, arts and humanities background, and I've also always been an entrepreneur. And I know I've told you the story about like subcontracting all of my neighborhood friends to help rake leaves when I was like 5 or 6 years old. My parents came out and were like, what is everybody doing? And we were like, well, figured if we all work together, right, we could finish this lawn, and then we move down the street to Mrs. So-and-so, and so on and so forth. And so I think even as a child, I was seeing like how people and systems and organizations could come together to create something bigger and more impactful together.
Long term.
And,
I love that.
And like I do love graders raking leaves, you know.
Well, I love that story because I think it is part of who you are. And, you know, the whole idea of your arts and humanities background and, connecting it to telecommunications and technology. I mean, I think it's fascinating, and I think it, makes you unique for sure. You know, I think about, similarly, I've always, I always played school, and I was always like in charge, and I was always directing people and putting people together. And I think for me, this year when I look back, 2026, I want to be able to say, I've made some really key introductions in support areas. I'm mentoring quite a few young individuals, young adults who are, at the precipice of making those big career moves. And some who are stepping into some really great early talent opportunities. And I'm excited to see where they land. And so this year for me are big opportunities, I think, for them to work the book, so to speak, and figure out the fueling of their future, and also supporting some new opportunities, some new organizations that I think really could use a little energy or insight from some of my past experiences that I've had. And so that's kind of where, when I look back at 2026, where I think I'm going to be. And I'm going to work on resting a little bit too.